This is the story of Richard Bankson, better known as FaZe Banks, co-founder of one of gaming's most influential empires. It's about meteoric rise, whispered schemes, and a downfall many say was inevitable. How did a man who helped build FaZe Clan become embroiled in allegations of scamming fans through a meme coin? Was it destiny or a lifetime of risky moves catching up? In 2010, FaZe Clan emerged on YouTube as teenagers showing off impossible trick shots. Ricky Banks joined this fledgling group and transformed it from hobbyists into a lifestyle brand. Over the next decade, FaZe signed major esports players and streamers and captured sponsorships, becoming synonymous with success in gaming. Banks was charismatic and unapologetic, an archetype of the internet entrepreneur. Fans saw him as a pioneer, but beneath the hype, dark patterns were forming. He once boasted that he and his friends finessed the internet. That phrase would come back to haunt him. Behind the viral montages was a culture of excess. FaZe members lived in lavish gaming houses and became celebrities through daily vlogs. The same irreverence that attracted sponsors also led them to push boundaries without considering the consequences. In 2015, FaZe Banks co-owned CSGO Wild, a betting site where Counter-Strike global offensive players gambled virtual weapon skins for real money. Banks later admitted he and his friends were earning roughly $200,000 per day. Those profits financed FaZe's first professional CSGO roster, acquired for around $1 million. But there was a problem. Minors were gambling without regulation. Banks bragged about paying off an Antiguan official for a license, and he showed little remorse, describing his actions as finessing the internet. Now, imagine teenagers mesmerized by colorful skins and flashing lights, pouring money into a system they didn't fully understand. Banks' attitude, celebrating profits while dismissing the harm to young fans, set a precedent: the pursuit of quick cash at any ethical cost. Critics described CSGO Wild as predatory because its unregulated odds targeted minors, and FaZe did not fully disclose ownership. To some, this was a glaring red flag about Banks' moral compass. Fast forward to 2021, several FaZe members promoted SaveTheKids, a cryptocurrency marketed as a charity coin. The token promised to raise money for children's charities, but collapsed shortly after launch. YouTuber CoffeeZilla uncovered evidence that some members, Kay, Jarvis, Nikan, and Tico, sold large portions of their tokens immediately after launch, turning the coin into a pump and dump scheme. FaZe Clan removed or suspended those involved and insisted it was unaware of their actions. Banks claimed he personally made the decision to discipline them, positioning himself as a responsible leader. But the damage to FaZe's reputation was immense. For many, the SaveTheKids scandal served as a warning. Trust was fragile and easily broken. The token's collapse also revealed a troubling pattern: influencers with massive audiences promoting financial products they didn't fully understand. Within hours, SaveTheKids rocketed in value, then plummeted, leaving early buyers with near-worthless tokens. CoffeeZilla discovered that some promoters had altered the contract to allow them to dump large portions. FaZe promised more transparency, and Banks warned investors of legal consequences. But the scandal reinforced the idea that influencer-led coins often enrich promoters more than buyers. The question lingered: if this happened under Banks' watch, what else was he willing to risk? In 2019, star Fortnite player Turner Tfue sued FaZe Clan. He alleged that his gamer contract let FaZe take up to 80% of his sponsorship and appearance revenue, and called the agreement grossly oppressive. Banks initially defended the contract, but soon after he flip-flopped. On Twitter, he admitted that the deal was trash and that FaZe had collected only about $60,000 while Tenny earned millions. Banks blamed poor management and said he allowed shit people to run his business. In 2020, FaZe and Tfue quietly settled. The terms were undisclosed, yet the dispute revealed internal chaos and fueled claims that FaZe exploited its talent. Banks' credibility took another hit. Legal filings showed that FaZe could keep up to 80% of sponsorship earnings and extended player contracts for years. Tenny's lawyers argued this violated California law and exploited young players. Banks' admission that the contract was trash was seen by some as honesty, by others as damage control. The feud highlighted FaZe's internal turmoil, with Banks defending the organization one day and criticizing it the next. If he couldn't protect his own players, could he protect his fans? Early 2025 brought the most explosive scandal. Banks and streamer Adin Ross promoted a meme coin called MLGcoin, also known as 360 No Scope 420 Blaze It. The token skyrocketed from a market cap of $3 million to more than $166 million thanks to coordinated promotion by prominent influencers. Fans piled in, expecting riches. Then the unthinkable happened. Within months, MLGcoin crashed by over 90%. Accusations of a pump and dump flooded social media. People said they had lost life savings. A screenshot leaked, allegedly showing Banks in a group chat blaming Adin Ross for the collapse. The only bad actor in this entire thing is Adin. Point blank, period, the message claimed. Ross confirmed the authenticity of the screenshot, but denied orchestrating a rug pull. Banks insisted he never sold his tokens and said he lost money. He argued that his name was being farmed for views and claimed there was a smear campaign. In a heartfelt post, he wrote that the allegations were destroying my life inside and out, and admitted he might never return to the internet. Fans were furious. Many felt rugged and betrayed. They saw millions of dollars evaporate while Banks distanced himself from responsibility. How could a coin go from hero to zero so quickly? Who truly cashed out? In the days following the leak, Banks posted that he and Ross planned a joint stream to address the drama. He claimed the situation had been miscommunicated and that it had damaged his friendship with Ross. On another day, he wrote that he had sold his remaining MLG tokens, taking a personal hit of over $106,000, and called it the worst scam of all time considering I lost 6 figures. While some took this as proof he hadn't profited, others pointed out that losing money doesn't absolve someone from orchestrating a pump and dump. Smart traders can cash out early while leaving some tokens behind to claim losses later. News agencies described the fiasco as a full-blown internet meltdown. They noted that the meme coin had jumped from $3 million to over $200 million before collapsing. Fans claimed they had invested their savings and were left holding worthless tokens. Banks doubled down on the claim that he never sold and emphasized that he grew the project organically and invested heavily. He again pointed to Adin Ross as the only bad actor, while Ross expressed feeling betrayed by someone he considered a brother. Later, Banks suggested he was the target of a coordinated smear campaign, claiming someone offered money to push negative stories. He insisted he was physically healthy and confident in his truth. To supporters, this looked like a man under attack. To skeptics, it sounded like deflection. The backlash was overwhelming. On July 28, 2025, Banks announced that he would step down as CEO of FaZe Clan and step away from the internet altogether. He declared that he had never scammed anyone and that the narrative was unfair. Sheep Esports reported that the meme coin's value surged to between $150 and $200 million before collapsing, adding that Banks felt the scandal was ruining his life. Esports Insider described how the coin's market cap jumped from $3 million to $150 million in just 5 days, and noted that Ross held a 20% stake in FaZe, further complicating the story. To many observers, this looked like a classic pump and dump. Hype the coin, then leave fans holding the bag when it crashes. Yet no one has produced definitive proof that Banks sold at the top. Without blockchain transparency, the truth remains elusive. So Banks stepped into the shadows, claiming he needed to heal, but the whispers didn't stop. In September 2025, Banks resurfaced to clarify his departure. He insisted he wasn't forced out, but left voluntarily. He said his goal had been to revive FaZe and then pass the torch to a new generation. Banks explained that his personal brand, heavy on crypto, gambling, and adult entertainment, no longer aligned with the direction FaZe was heading. He didn't want to drag younger creators into controversies. Despite stepping away, he promised to remain FaZe's biggest fan. He framed his exit as noble. Critics weren't convinced. Supporters emphasized that Banks had given a decade of his life to building FaZe and deserved a break. In his Mundo Deportivo interview, he explained that at 33, his interests, crypto speculation, gambling, partying, no longer aligned with FaZe's youthful image. He wanted to pass the baton to creators who could take the brand forward without being associated with his lifestyle. He reiterated his love for FaZe and said he would always remain its biggest fan. But detractors saw his voluntary narrative as revisionist history. They argued that stepping down only after public backlash isn't nobility, it's crisis management. The gulf between his lifestyle and FaZe's mission had been evident for years, yet he had continued representing the brand until the MLG MLGcoin scandal made it untenable. Look back across these moments. Every few years, Banks found himself at the center of financial controversy. He co-owned a gambling site that targeted minors. He disciplined members over a charity coin pump and dump, but couldn't prevent it from happening on his watch. He defended then condemned an exploitative contract. He promoted a meme coin that left fans destitute. Each incident eroded trust, yet his charisma kept drawing people in. Supporters argue that Banks revolutionized esports, created opportunities for gamers, and took blows for actions he didn't orchestrate. Detractors say he repeatedly prioritized profit over people. What's the truth? Was Banks a visionary who built a billion-dollar brand and took the fall for mistakes made by others? Or a hustler who repeatedly sought risky profits at the expense of his audience? The record shows someone willing to engage with gambling targeted at minors, a co-founder who allowed pump and dump schemes under his watch, a CEO who admitted to offering oppressive contracts, and an influencer who promoted a meme coin that collapsed. At the same time, he created opportunities for young players, brought esports into the mainstream, and publicly confronted missteps. Both sides can find evidence to support their view. If you followed this saga, what do you think? Is FaZe Banks a visionary who fell victim to internet hate mobs, or a master manipulator who profited from chaos? Did he knowingly promote schemes that hurt his fans, or was he caught in the crossfire of other people's greed? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and remember, in the worlds of crypto, esports, and online fame, not everything is as it seems. If you're thinking of buying into the next influencer-endorsed token, ask yourself who stands to gain and who shoulders the risk. As of this recording, FaZe Banks remains off the internet. Rumors swirl about potential comebacks and re-entries into the crypto world. For now, he says he's taking care of himself and watching FaZe from afar. Perhaps the most important lesson isn't about one man's downfall, but about the larger culture of influencer-driven finance. Are we repeating cycles of hype and collapse? Have we learned anything from SaveTheKids or MLGcoin? The internet never forgets. The story isn't over. Stay tuned. See you later, alligator.